2004, there were two new villages that popped up in Rwanda. Bumanzi and Muhumuru existed in complete rivalry, ethnic, territorial, everything. Both suffered at the hand of the other one. Some of them felt like they'd lost dignity. Some of them felt like they were being treated unfairly by the system. The two villages existed in a bubble of hatred, in a bubble of insecurity that was both physical and psychological, and a bubble that constantly trembled on the brink of power. This should sound familiar to everyone. Bumanzi Muhumuro existed only on the airwaves of a Rwandan radio show called Musikiweya or New Dawn, which was a show that was developed by psychologists, by Oxfam, and by a government that really needed healing. In the aftermath of the Rwandan genocide, a country where people wanted radio more than they wanted shoes, where 85% of the population was tuning in every week to listen to this radio program, without ever saying the words Hutu or Tutsi, a fictional narrative became a tool of education for a topic that was too sensitive to be discussed openly. And we all deal with these topics, right? We deal with HIV, we deal with domestic abuse, we deal with child abuse. We deal with economic insecurity, we deal with behavior changes in schools. And it's often very difficult to see how we, as outsiders, can address these topics in a way that is sensitive, in a way that is head-on. Especially because in a lot of the parts of the country, people are suffering from HIV exhaustion, where they're tired of hearing about HIV, and yet it's still going right over their head. And in the other part of the country, it's too taboo to talk about. So how do we get around that? So a stage is an empty space. Performative nature of a play, by its definition, separates the actor from the truth. He or she is assuming a role. Anything that person says can be true or not true. And that ambiguity is what gives people confidence to speak up about things that they would otherwise not speak about. Some people have stories to tell that they don't want to take ownership of, either out of shame, out of fear, or because they're still in denial about it. Tianza in your classroom may be suffering from childhood abuse at home, or she may be HIV positive. She can't talk to her family, she can't talk to her friends about it. But Tianza on stage is someone else entirely. That Tianza can be HIV positive, can be suffering from abuse at home, because that person is a character, is created in the minds of the audience. There's a lot more honesty that can come out of that. So in my Girls Club, we were working on different performative projects. We wanted people to do a project on girls empowerment. And one of the groups decided that they wanted to do a theater project. So these 6 girls got together and they wrote a play. And there are these 3 girls who are learning how to talk to older men about sex, or about how to avoid sex. And at the beginning of the play, they're very shy. They don't know what they're doing. They're trying to avoid it. They're kind of doing what we all do in the bus rank. And then they go to Glow, because these girls are kind of stuck. And they learn about how to talk to people. And at the end of the play, these 3 girls are going to men and saying, I do not want to marry you, I do not want to have sex with you. And, this is a direct quote, we are headed for greatness. So what purpose does this serve? This gives girls an empty space where they can share their experiences without being judged. But it also means that we get to see what they're experiencing. We see it every day in a way that they may not be sharing with us otherwise. And they're working it out for themselves. They're working out these solutions in a way that they otherwise wouldn't. Psychologically speaking, and I know all of you who do insanity know this, if you do something over and over again, it becomes a habit. The habits that we like to improve are the ones that you can do through the theater rehearsals, over and over and over again, saying no in a way that makes you feel comfortable. You guys don't have to be good at theater to do this. You don't have to know anything about theater to do this. All you have to know how to do is how a story works and how to sit and listen to it. And many of you are doing this in other creative aspects as well, poetry, music, through spoken word, whatever you're doing. And those are all great things. But the thing about theater is that when someone gets up on a stage, they're developing self-confidence. They're developing public speaking skills. They're developing things that we want girls to be developing, to give them their own voice. Not just girls, but boys as well. But girls are really the ones that are kind of voiceless. So this radio program in Rwanda is credited with not only seriously contributing to the Rwandan reconciliation movement, but it also addressed a lot of the topics that we talk about: HIV prevention, abuse, even gardening. I swear to God. And just as it was written by Rwandans who wanted to share their own stories, it's important that we let the girls in our communities share their own stories in a way that makes them feel comfortable, in a way that they can express what they're saying without necessarily having to say, that happened to me, I did that. And it gives us an opportunity to learn from them, to see what they're capable of, and to see where we're actually taking